First of all, I'd like to apologize for coming in late. Uh, uh, you'd never know what would happen in our talks because we had so many things in line for us today. And one of the part of the program was really, I think it was second, was a national security meeting. You know, when you get to talk about the security of the country, you go into so many gamut of topics. You have to deal with the problem of Mindanao, then what's happening now on the communist front, and what are the demands. But I'd like to also to make it public, actually, that everything is going on smoothly in Oslo with the talk with the communists, except for the recent demand that they need another 130 releases of prisoners. And I said to Secretary Doresa and Bello, who are the negotiators, I said, look guys, you tell the communists that I have, as a matter of fact, conceded too many too soon. All of the leaders are out, and the only reason why I agreed that they should be out was because they had to do the talking in another country, and that's in Oslo. But to be asking for another 130 releases, you tell them, produce to me, show me an agreement, a tight document signed by, even with the Norway guys who provided the good offices, to sign it, and I will consider it. But do not make too much demands, because I am the Republic and you are the rebel. And if you are not ready to accept that kind of mindset at this time, I am ready to, terminate the talks. You don't make so much demands that are really I have to consider the views of the military and the police. And I have to be not really fair, but some sort of a tactical move that would be understood by all, including, I said, the military and the police, and 130. And also, today we took consideration of the Mauti rebellion going on in Lanao. And they said that they are willing to pull out. By the way, Ben, my classmate, he helped me a lot. Tony Lopez is a classmate of mine. Thank you to be. And they demanded that we stop the offensive. They are there in the forest, I don't know where. And I said they would stop fighting, provided we stop the offensive or not. They said that they will go down upon Marawi to burn the place. And I said, go ahead. Do it. We need to do a lot of constructions in this country. There are a lot of materials there, and we would be glad to rebuild and rehabilitate every structure that you destroy. As long as it's confined in the areas of Lanao, I don't really care. So I said, no, I will not stop the operation. As a matter of fact, we'll go ahead, and that's stupidity of it. Well, anyway, I reckon that you did not maybe listen to my campaign. I was just an ordinary guy. Part of the establishment is but coming in from the cold, because I was not a national figure. And I hardly, except for Rudy, who's also my classmate. Those are the guys that I see now. My crowd was very limited. I'm a provinciano, a hillbilly style, that's from the province, and I said, the only guys that I know would really be the Davaoenos. For example, Sonny Dominguez was there. Are you really, you want to go home ahead? Go, we grew up together. We grew up together, actually. He's my childhood friend, and he was our consistent valedictorian from kindergarten to maybe college because I was left behind. It took me 7 years to finish high school. That's why. And Rudy is a cum laude. And also Ruben. Me, I got only 78, but it's okay. It's historical, actually. Since grade 1, it's always in the line of 7. I never got a grade. Few times. College of Law, yes. I remember criminal procedure. Berne Fernandez. I just appointed his son to take his place in the Sandigan. But in high school and college, mostly 78, 79. But it was okay. I survived it along the way. But I got the best of the minds. Tugade is a billionaire, actually, and I think he was the valedictorian of the class. And a lot of them are really with honors, graduated with honors. And sadly, even Sunny, who was the voice of America champion during our time, national, studied abroad, and all the guys, all the bright guys are actually working for me. They're just my, when the 75 talks, the 95 listen. That is good. That's the quirks of life, really. But let me dwell first on, we're getting short of time. Let me dwell on what I promised the people of the Republic of the Philippines. I said that I will end corruption. And I'm doing everything, actually. And if there's consolation to you, I have opened the PTV of the government. There's a time there after the news. It's only a plain screen, and you can call 8888, and you tell me what the problem is. Text it. I will read it. You might want to just also not divulge your. It's okay with me. Tell us the office that you're dealing with, and the guy that is pestering you. Tell me about your complaints, and I will act immediately. So, in that way, the people of the Philippines would see who are the corrupt officials of this government. I am really bent on giving this country a respite of this so many years under a corrupt administration. I am not the nice guy in the neighborhood, but I feel that at this age, at 72, I'm about to end my. I've been mayor of Davao City for 23 years, a congressman, and a vice mayor to my daughter. I feel that this is would really be my last hurrah, and I'd like to give the country what they have been desperately craving for, and that is a government at least with less corruption, or none at all, but it's hard, kind of hard thing to do. And so I'm doing everything, and I just fired about 92 officials of the LFTRB and LTO. It's because of this regulation. If I were to make a choice, actually, I would maybe order the least intervention of government into the private lives or sectors. The more regulation, there's more corruption. It's actually a temptation to corruption. And so when I became president, and this is the rule, when I was mayor, I applied for a small railway to run the Davao City streets because it's it's really congested. And you know what? I applied in NEDA because you have to get the approval of NEDA without a sovereign guarantee. Took them about until now to draw to the basket. Takes you about 3 to 4 years. It's because of corruption. When I became president, all of them, Rudy and the rest, son, I said, all the departments, you only have 1 month. Either you approve it or disapprove it, but do the action within 1 month. And for the local governments, I said, I'm not pulling my own chair, but follow the practice of Davao. All of the things there, for example, a business permit, electrical connections and everything, 3 days. Now, if you feel that you're getting the go around, you are free to come here. Just make an arrangement. You have or secretaries for the technology, or anybody you know in government. I'm sure you know Bing Bong, the executive secretary. If you want, I said, if you're getting the go around, give me your papers here in Malacanang, and I will do the follow-ups. I'll give it to the secretary because they have 1 month to act on it. So that's it. If you do not have faith in a certain department because you have a horrible experience there, and if you think that you have antagonized some people there, give me your papers, and I will do the walking for you. Simple as that. I am, there are things cropping up now. You will hear it, but we're still investigating. And I said that there can never no friendship in this kind of setup. This is not mine to give. As you are wont to say, if you are there in public service, I would not brook any kind of. Just tell me. You're free to do it either through a letter or whatever, or to Peter. I'm sure he would do it for his country. He's a Filipino. He is already a Filipino. Just give him a memo or a syllabus of the things that have been happening, and I would be very glad to take it on from you. This is the guarantee that now, as I said, no corruption. The slightest whip of feel that you're being milked or you're being, even just, I will take it from there. I have a list of persons who are in the, sadly, this guy was assigned in Davao, and I know that he was corrupt. He's assigned elsewhere, but I had a report from the National Intelligence, it's the intelligence body of the government, that this guy working for the BIR is corrupt. So I'll just bring it up with Billy Dulay. Billy Dulay is, he's from Baguio, and he stayed in the YMCA dormitory where I was hosting. He was with Belio. And I was, my roommate was Yasay. I'm quite surprised now because whenever there's a new meeting, I would hear this guy, well, I just reported from Washington and there's things that I would have to do and I'll be back because there's another conference. Who is this guy talking? Is he an American? Throw him out. Only Filipinos allowed there. You know, if he was talking about, it was really from Washington. They say, oh, he's an American. Pagtingin ko siya sa'yo pala. But he talks like really, he has that drawl. I don't know where he got it, but he didn't have it during my college days. There was terribly wrong somewhere. What I know is that during the martial law years, he was one of those to be arrested by the military. He was in the list. And he was able to escape on time together with Maceda. And they practice law in America. That's what I've heard. So no wonder this guy talks like... but of course, he's been used to it because he's teaching in the Western universities. He's quite an accomplished lawyer, actually. He's bright. But he works for me. He takes orders from me, from the 75. Now, let me go to this issue of extrajudicial killing. You know, I said I will try to stop corruption. I will deal with the drugs harshly. That's my word. And if you're listening to the debates during the 3 rounds of debates during the campaign, that's what I said. I would be harsh. And criminality. Now, I was very strict in Davao about criminality. And I was a prosecutor for almost 8 years doing trial work. I was teaching criminal law, criminal evidence, criminal procedure in the police academy. So it would not surprise you that when I came to the office of the mayor, I was quite really, given my background, I was very strict. And Davao City at that time was a very troubled place. 7 o'clock, and you can ask anybody from Davao. It's everybody's asleep. There was not a single entertainment house there, except for the bars in the slum areas. And there were a lot of killings, military men killing the NPAs and MPAs. They were being killed left and right. We used to lose in Davao City 2-3 policemen a day. So when I became mayor, I had to tackle the problem of law and order. And the first thing I did was really to talk to the communists. And I told him that, I do not want a quarrel with you. We became friends because when I was a prosecutor, I was only assigned 3 cases to handle. Because nobody would touch the case with the 10-foot pole. And that was military offenders, police offenders, and rebellion. Those were the only things that I had to worry when I was a prosecutor. I was not assigned to any other cases because nobody, I said, would touch the rebellion cases, especially against the military. So they know me well because most of the policemen were also my students. So when I became mayor, I told you, I was prosecuting the rebellion cases. So that whenever there's a hearing, we became fast friends because, you have to be courteous to everybody. And I would go to them and shake their hands. So when I was appointed OIC Vice Mayor, I was taken out from the prosecutor's office, and they made me OIC Vice Mayor of Davao City. That was when Corazon Aquino ordered the release of all political prisoners. And you know what happened? They all came to me and said, we need your help because we cannot go anywhere anymore. So I provided them on all the jobs. And Ivasco, the cabinet secretary, he was an NPA together with another priest, Father Tizon, of Leyte. They went to Mindanao to become NPAs. And they were chanced upon by the scout rangers and arrested. And they were about to be. And so when I learned, because I was the only one also assigned to do the preliminary investigation, and somebody said, better hurry because they call it salvage. It's not a ship to be salvaged, but the term is salvage is to do him in. And I said, look, guys, he's a priest. Do not do it. No, do not do it. And so eventually, he said when he was released, he went to my office. But he's a priest and he's good at organizing. He became my technical assistant. When I was elected mayor, he was my chief of staff for so many years. Then eventually he went back to his home province in Bohol and became the mayor of his municipality. And now he's a secretary of the cabinet of this republic. That's how it is. So, but at that time, I told him to talk to your group. Say, I do not want to fight with you. But if you continue assassinating police and military men, there will come a time when we'll have to face each other. And I just hope that, it would not be a violent one. But since I am the mayor, I have to guarantee to everybody that. And so with the criminals, I said, it's a very simple. Do not do it in my city. If you destroy my city, I will kill you. And I told the drug industry people, do not do it here in Davao City. Because if you deprive society of the next generation of the youth, I will kill you. It is a matter of preserving people. And I was talking about it, I was only a mayor. So when I became president, I made the same statement. And you guys are lawyers. There's nothing wrong in saying that if you destroy my country, I'll kill you. If you destroy the youth of the land, I will kill you. And so, it's a threat. If you are committing a crime, if you're destroying my country, you are a threat, and I could do away with you. And that is what was being used by, she's mouthing it almost every day she gets the chance to say something. The wife of Samson, the wife of Samson. Look, guys, you know the Philippines. I'm sure you were here already. I was adopted by the PDP, a moribund political party. It was not really moving except for the father and son, Pimentel and the Senate President. I became the candidate. I only had 2 governors in the entire Philippines. Maybe 3, but only 2 really confirmed. 2 ladies, Jaime Marcos and 1 lady in Mindanao, and only because of love. And I am not a single, I didn't have a single barangay captain or even a city mayor. Even in my own region of Davao, which was used to be one Davao, no governor supported me. And in the Visayas, I'm zero. Even my father is Cebuano. Even in his hometown, our hometown, the Duranos were for Po. So after the elections and when the results were, and I asked my wife, I didn't have any money. And everybody will tell you that I did not. There are some. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not. Wala akong. Because I had this belief that I do not want to be burdened with anything. And yet I won, and by a margin of 6 million. Saan ito galing? Where did this come from? I never talk about any leader of giving money to run the campaign. All I did was to go around the country with the money that was, Sunny Dominguez was one of the financiers, but because he was my classmate. And I said, there must be something in this. I could only attribute it to God. So my victory really was a destiny. And so to all the people that are really urging, ouster, kung kudeta here, impeachment, go ahead. Because if I am ousted or impeached or whatever, that is part of my destiny. It only means that God made me president, but he said, you'd only be president for 2 months, 6 months, 1 year. I have no illusions about being ousted. I'm old and I do not crave for power. As a matter of fact, I am almost saying that do not be offended, you guys, Filipinos. If I were to get back in time, I would not. Yun lang. Kung pabalikin ako sa kahapon, ayaw ko na. I mean, I think I have no use for it actually. Without saying that kayo nangailangan sa akin, it's not that, but personally, I have no use for the presidency anymore. I'm tired of politics. You know, I have enough adulation and the clapping of the hands for 40 years of my political career, excluding this one, which is 6 years. I have enough of that praises and everything to last me a lifetime, to make me happy. I do not really, personally now, come to realize, need to be president. But what prompted me to run was because I was looking at the political landscape and nobody there was talking about Mindanao. They were talking about technology and improvement, infrastructure, mounting all the promises that a politician usually gives. But nobody was really very serious about Mindanao and drugs. Because when I was mayor, I was really very strict. And if you'd ask me that were there some dead persons along the way? Yes, of course. When you fight crime, there is always that. But you know, if you are asking me now if I killed people on bended knees with their hands tied at their backs, that is not mine. That is not mine. Remember, I mentioned during the campaign that there are police generals into drugs, and you might want to resign just in case I become the president because I will mention you publicly. And if you're kindly remember about a few weeks before I became, I took my oath of office, especially, became the president. There were already so many killings every day. Go back in time for me and read the newspapers at that time. It's very easy. You can, there's the new technology. You can just backtrack. Why? Why was there a widespread killing? And even after I became president, you should know the answer. We do not, we do not wrap people with plastic tape. We are not producing mummies in the Philippines for export. So what? Those are indications of torture. But why would we torture when we are going to arrest you because you are committing a crime? There's no need for you to torture. Or you just shoot him, fine, the one bullet in the head. Why go into this charade of wrapping people? It will indicate that there are tortures and forcing people to say something. Maybe who are the people that you have talked to about this industry? But I must admit that a third of the killings really happened during police encounters. And I know it because I'm not trying to pull my own chair. But in Davao, I used to do it personally, just to show to the guys that if I can do it, why can't you? And I go around Davao with a motorcycle, with a big bike, and I would just patrol the streets and looking for trouble also. Tagla naghanap ako ng inkwento para makapatay. Yung what happened now is not. But they say that if I'm afraid to stop because of the human rights and guys from including Obama, sorry, I'm not about to do that. You arrest me, oust me, go ahead. So God said that you're mayor, but you have been given a mission to do something. But it's only up to there. So, fine. Oust me, good. Assassinate me, better. I have this migraine every day. I had a bad sleep. The last one was this. And I hit the cement. I have a lot of issues with my spine. My doctor would want to operate, but my wife was a nurse, and she used to work in the United States, and she said there's a lot of operations of the spinal that went awry, that went wrong. And she did that. So that if you guys see me always on the sad mode, and actually pushing a nerve here to relieve the pain. And even when I'm doing the arms akimbo, and sometimes I do this, it's actually pushing something here to relieve the pain. I cannot afford the operation. It's not because I do not have the money. I have the money to pay for it. It's because my wife said that one nerve cut is you're dead forever. So those are the issues that I cannot decide by myself because I'm married to someone who says that I should not have it. And I used to press something here, fentanyl. It's a painkiller. It's being used by patients with cancer. I was only given a fourth of that square thing. There was a time that if I put two, yeah, but not no more because Well, of course, my doctor learned that I was using the whole patch because I felt better. When he knew it, he blew his stop, and I said, stop it. The first thing that you would lose is your cognitive ability. And if you're noticing it, he said, is it because you are, abusing the drug? Take Jessic, but I have a pain also with I have a Barrett, esophageal thing. It's the GERD, call it. And I have, might as well tell you about my medical history. Don't believe in cancer. What I have is really Berger's disease. It's an acquired thing that you get from smoking because of nicotine. Nicotine constricts the vessels. Alcohol dilates the vessel. So you can lose just like diabetes, you can lose your punch and even your thing there, doctor said, you lose it forever. Yeah. It's blood. It's either it's filled with blood or there's nothing to pass it on there because it's all constricted. One thing about Berger disease is just stop smoking. Yeah. Especially guys with cold hands, they are prone to, you smoke, you're prone to. Means to say that your whole system is not really working well because of blood circulation. But back to this thing about, the PDEA, I'm sure you were already around. PDEA said that during the time of General Santiago, he was here in another event. He said that there are already 4 million Filipinos, 3 million, addicted. And that was a figure he gave 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2.5 to 3 years. My count has not been made public. But I'm nearing the 800 already as they surrender to the barangay, to the police, to the mayors. And I am sure that I will breach the million mark by the end of the year. So with 4 million drug addicts spread all throughout the country, with so many municipal mayors, city mayors, and policemen into it, the industry, what am I supposed to do? This is a matter already of a national security threat. 4 million addicts is 4 million addicts. Also, you want a visual thing about the drug industry? Bigay mo nga sa akin. I lost my aid. Para maintindihan, so that you'd understand that this Duterte is a killer. Far from it, actually. I'm trying to preserve my race. God, I'm trying to save my... You want a visual thing? Oh, okay. This is the drug industry of the Philippines. You know what? Is there? Region 10, Mindanao. 70 congressmen there. If you have a good site, one mayor, ex-mayor, another mayor, another mayor. Each page is with a list of names. You know how many is this? 6,000. Mayors and is there Representative Vicente, Mayor Lawrence. Actually, if you want to know more Lawrence of Lanao. Say that you're into a fishing expedition. Of course not. I'm a prosecutor. Look at this person. They're the one, a Caucasian-looking ulul. Luot, general. The one I mentioned it. There are 2 generals here. So, this is the drug industry. Sabi ko nga you worry about the 3,000 dead, a third of them during police encounters. I don't know about the rest. And you do not worry the drug industry, 4 million. And you worry about you're sad about the mayor who was killed inside the cell. And you want to pull down the PNP because the son of a bitch died. A mayor violating his oath of office. He was doing drugs on the western side of Visayas. Odicta, who was also killed with his wife many months ago, was playing the eastern side. I provided the Speaker and the Senate President, and I said, it is beyond me. Even if you give me a carta blanca to kill everybody, then I will run out of bullets and out of time. Hindi ko kaya. Were it not for the good soul, a Chinese philanthropist, a billionaire, then I would not have the rehab center. No, let me tell you. They say, this Duterte, why don't he just put them in a rehab? And what I'd like you to know is that I came into the presidency midterm. I am operating on a budget that was prepared by Aquino the previous year. And so how was he supposed to know that because of their inaction, the industry flourished into millions? So there's nothing there. And everybody, you know that it was a bottoms-up thing. The sloganeering bottoms up. And so what is really left in this building is just enough operating expenses. That's what it is. Bottoms up, we just had an election. So we found so many tractors and everything there. And some of them were not delivered to the beneficiaries. Why? Because the law which allowed them to buy this thing is that the farmers would have to pay 15%. Farmer or Filipino farmer, where will they get the 15%? So I told Piñol, so there are so many tractors. But COA says, sabi ko, never mind COA. COA. You give that for free. And so we delivered it to Basilan. Never mind COA. I will constricted brains. That's what they have there. Why do you sacrifice the Filipinos just because they cannot pay the 15% and you withdraw this kind of stupidity? So never mind about COA. Just give it to them. So those are the things that were left behind. And bottoms up was bottoms up. Talagang binuhos nila. They use the money of the government. Everybody knows it. And that is always the case. That's why I said I am not pretending to be someone in the Philippines or even in my province, but I will just try to give a respite to the Filipinos. Hindi naman ako tumanggap ng pera, so I can have my way. I didn't receive any, so wala akong utang na loob. Meron pero kukunti. Sunny Dominguez, he does not need it. He has the hotel there to make him happy for the rest of his life. Marco Polo. I don't know if he's stockholder also here. Nawala na. Where is he? I thought so because he was winking at the girl there across the road. Nandyan. you can backbite him because you're allowed to do it. So yan ang I have to do it. And it is not really the ones that for all I know it's a turf war, just like in Lanao. Do you think that the drug that's the largest producer now of drugs? Why? Because Mauti and the rest are fighting it out for just like the cartel. And if you read Ion, forgot he has a good book about South America. And the new one is there's a sequel to that, and there's a new book. We are already in the state of narco-politics. 2-3 generations ago, nandiyan na, it was already. We were already there. And with the election of the wife of Samson, the portals of the national government opened to the creeping, insidious, and virulent drugs. Imagine, Secretary of Secretary of Justice running the drug industry inside. Until now, if you want to order, they are now in prison, but they were distributed all throughout the country. It's being run now. That is why the next order was that if there is a cell phone found in the cells of any jail here, you're out. I will fire you. I will fire all of the superiors there. Because the drug industry, just like in America, is run by the inside. They have the contacts. They are the lieutenants. The big ones are already out of the country. There's a big digital map there. And they would just say, in the Paco area or Santa Ana or Tondo, there's this model. You pick it up there and that, and it's real time. You deliver it there. You get the money from this guy in the corner standing. So how do you fight it? And even China is having a serious problem now with drugs. Yan ang mahirap. They're really having a headache now because, cocaine and heroin, you have to have the puppy. But drugs you can cook it inside your yard. And it's happening now in America. They are realizing it. But for all of the posturings, I really do not know why. Well, in other countries, especially in Rwanda, when they were killing, they were doing the ethnic cleansing here, or just like in the Middle East, wag na lang tayo, let us stop kidding ourselves. They are also doing it for religious purpose. Me, I'm fighting here criminals, all potential users, and if you're a user, you must be a pusher if you are a user. Why? Unless, of course, you're the son of Ayala and Gokongwei. Then you have to have somebody to contaminate to support your, or else the monkey. You have to have the fix of the day. So I'm having a very serious problem here. And I do not have, I said, were it not for that human being of China, I would not have this facility good for 10,000 people. Diyan nakakaawa ang Pilipino. Then they attack me for human rights. You know, in every demonstration, let me tell you frankly, in every demonstration, it's the yellow who's shouting for my ouster. But you will never hear it from the communists. Because I am the president belonging to the left, actually. And everybody would tell you that I was crossing the ideological borders even before I became mayor. Find a policeman or soldiers who was taken hostage there. And they would tell you the person would go there to the mountains to retrieve them. The Reds would never demand my ouster. They will die for me, believe me. That's the reason why I was able to convince them for a talk. There have been, it starts with the good intention, pronouncement, everything, and at the end of the day, it ends with a stalemate. So do not believe in that shit that they will never go for the ouster. Look at their posters. They would just condemn the burial of Marcos. But that was really the line, their lines, their favorite lines, actually, because Marcos was their enemy. But for those who cannot forget, you are condemned to enjoy your grief until you die. Marcos, when he was buried in Hawaii, you know, the Americans are very strict with that. You cannot go around the law and preserve a body there. It's not allowed. You have to go inside the tomb. Marcos, when the time they got him out there, bring it to the Philippines, already in ashes. Or at the very least, skeletal remains. And by the time that he was buried there in Libingan ng Magani, it's just ashes. So, and they would just put them as a bad guy. My mother led the Yellow Friday movement in Davao City. You can ask everybody and anybody. Sunny will tell you. She was the only one in the plaza bowling at the military because all of the audience were policemen and Philippine constabulary at the time. It was mother who only stood up and bullshitted them in public. And there were only 4 of them walking the streets of every Friday until it bloomed into something big and eventually the revolution. No? Baka hindi nila alam yan. The Reds would never. And you can go to the mountains and ask the regular armed NPA. And ask them, who's your idol? So, let me disabuse your mind about this. There are actually 2 groups there. The group of the yellow who cannot accept defeat. So they keep on making noises and making contacts with this lady there. I will not mention her name because she's a lady. And she only made it big because she married an American, a black one, millionaire. And she inherited the money. And now she's talking as if she's... I said, I would like to... I take your questions. But let me just end my story. Because I like this adage which he said when he was the President of the United States of America. And he's also one of the few heroes that I have in mind. One is Rizal, my father, then this guy. And he said, if I were to try to read, much less answer all attacks made on me, this shop might as well be closed for any other business. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep doing so until the end. If the end brings me out all right, what is said against me won't amount to anything. But if the end brings me out wrong, then angels of God swearing I was right would make no difference. Abraham Lincoln. Great statement left behind. And for me, I just two. There was this saying in the YMCA dormitory. And it's always there, and I've memorized it over time. And He said that, I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. So for those of the bad guys, putang ina, papatayin ko talaga kayo. Really. For all of the gangster and with the ill intentions of this republic, do not try to fuck it, guys. You lose not only your pants but your life. I will not hesitate. If it is my country, the interest of my country and the people, if it's the one at stake, you can be very sure I have no doubts in my mind that I know what I should do. The threat of drugs and terrorism is very real. If the ISIS loses the land mass and if they are driven out, they will start to spread around the world. And they've always dreamt of this caliphate in Southeast Asia, and obviously it's Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines because of its Muslim population. I'm not saying the Moros, they do not have anything like that, except the Maute who said that they have pledged allegiance to. Terrorism is very real. And if finally the ISIS is defeated, it will just sprout everywhere, just like any revolution, because it's a dialogue. What happened before in Malaysia, many never got it really correct. What happened in the southern states, including Mindanao, Malaysia, there was this resurgence of Moro nationalism because they are the originals there in Mindanao. When Magellan said arrive, Mindanao was already 100 years ahead. At my postisla, there was a post in the fight against imperialism, the Spaniards and the Americans. Islam was their rallying point. So that thing there is not new. It's not really a rebellion of, it's the resurgent Moro nationalism. It was their land. So that you have to make concessions. Now believe me, the barest minimum would be really federalism. And mark my word, I would not be here for all the time. If we do not adopt federalism, there is no way that peace can be attained in Mindanao, now or in the future. That's why those who are resisting federalism, because you want to maintain the unitary type, which is actually a structure for despots and kings and authoritarianism. And I don't know why the Americans, when they left us in 1946, coming from a federal country, did not give it to us. Was it because of the parity rights which they were interested? Because it was attached in that Constitution that the Americans would enjoy the same privileges to exploit and develop natural resources, just like a Filipino. Or it was really with the good intentions, and we are an island separated from one another, 7,000 of it actually. It would be good to have a strong president. But if I may suggest, I'm telling you now, and you have my word, if they can come up next year or the sooner, whatever, 2-3 years from now, my term is 6 years. But if they can craft a constitution creating a federal setup, a country, and providing for a strong president, just like the type which France has, then I am willing to step down without waiting for the 6 years. Because then I said you would need a president. It is not good for a pure parliamentary type, just like in Britain, because it is not responsive at this time. Remember, the double-decker was blown up by the ISIS, maybe at that time already. Britain at that time could hardly move because of a parliament, and it's a collegial body and a collegial decision. So the Prime Minister could not even say a statement of why, where, how. It's not good. You know, in times of, you have to have a strong president, I said. A federal type, a strong president. You might want to just give him a few of the powers. 5 powers, but strong one. To dissolve the parliament, create a call for a constitution, be the commander-in-chief of all armed forces. Because you need it at this time in our life. And maybe 2 additional powers. But always there has to be a strong leader at this time. Cannot be a parliament or something which you have to discuss after. Belongs to one man. And it's all commander-in-chief. That is what I am advocating. But for me, I said, I told Senate President Pimentel, and they were here during the National Security meeting, and the Speaker, go ahead, make it fast. And if you can create that model 2 or 3 years, I will step down as President of this Republic. No problem. No problem at all. I said that. That's why I said, for those who are asking for my ouster, do not dream about it. Eventually, I will. If you do not like me, go for the federal type, and you are freed of my presence in government. I'd like that thing to disabuse the minds of the people and to remember it. I have no illusions at all. I'm good at this time already. When I go back there, I have to ride in that motorboat. I live in the small house there just across. I do not stay here because I said they do not, the ghosts here do not wait for nighttime and darkness. They are there even in daytime, as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. And if I stay at I don't know where it is, you just might feel that someone is beside you. If it's a white lady, I will willingly oblige. The problem is when we begin to chat, there's a Caucasian there, because when the one stage there were the Spaniards and the Americans. You can find a man with the bird with the pipe in his mouth, and that would be scary. Most of the presidents here in the past were the Spaniards and the Americans. And there's somewhere these tales where the mother of our national hero begged the Spaniard Governor General at the time to spare his son's life. There's a place there where she knelt down and cried and pleaded for mercy. National hero natin. But the only thing about her is the memory. Otherwise, it's all wood. It's not a palace, actually. It's full of rooms there and there. But I'm glad that you have had the chance to visit me or the palace for the first time, whichever is convenient to you. To see me first or the palace, it's okay, but that is my story to you tonight. Thank you and good night.